What's going on, truckers? This is the Trucker Gene, where we cover all things trucking. In today's video, I'll be giving my opinion on the Schneider National Tanker Division, which is a separate division from its regular dry van freight. I'll be giving a brief rundown on what to expect during your training period and my personal experience and how it went. If this video is helpful for you, as always, do your boy a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and as always, drop a comment and let me know how these videos are helping you guys out. I have more content to come. Thank you for all the subs out there. I appreciate the support, and without any further ado, let's get right into today's video. If you're looking into getting into the tanker side of trucking, Schneider NBC or Schneider Tanker Division, whatever you want to call it, they have a program that will train new and experienced drivers on the ins and outs of tanker work. If you are an experienced driver, your training program with Schneider will be about 18 days. And if you're an inexperienced driver, your Schneider tanker training will be about 5 weeks. At the time of my training, what Schneider considered experienced was 1 year. I did hear talks of them scaling that back to 6 months. So if you're in between 6 months and a year, it's a good chance that you may be able to get on as an experienced driver. If you come on as an inexperienced driver, your training period will be 5 weeks, and it will be more extensive because not only are they teaching you the tanker side of it, they will also be teaching you the truck driving aspect of it as well. I did my Schneider tanker training out of Houston, Texas. They bring in a lot of drivers from Louisiana, Florida. I've seen people from Alabama and Georgia as well. They'll all come down to this facility in Houston and do their Schneider tanker training there. I'm sure there are other facilities in other locations, but in our region, Houston is the area where you'll go to do your Schneider tanker training at. So how it went for me is because I lived in the Houston area, I actually just drove to training every day, and I didn't really stay in the hotel. I stayed at home. But if you don't live in Houston, you can use a shuttle to get to and from the hotel. And the hotel is actually pretty nice. I can't remember the exact name of the hotel, but I heard a lot of guys say that they enjoyed the hotel. So it wasn't a hole in the wall or a Motel 6 or anything like that. It was actually pretty nice. How a typical day would work is I would get up, I would drive to the facility about 7 o'clock and start my day there. You gotta be on time. Make sure you are on time because they do not like when people are showing up 5 minutes after the cutoff. A lot of times they'll tell you to be there at 6:50, be there at 6:45. Don't get there right on time, always be early. I came in as an experienced driver, so your experience may vary, but overall the training is the same when it comes to the tanker division. I just didn't go through the training over the road with your instructor and things of that nature. So pretty much a brief rundown of how it went was when you first get there, you will have to take a physical and a drug test. So what does a physical consist of? You'll do squats. You'll have to lift a few boxes. You'll do some lateral movements to make sure that you'll move safely on top of the tanker. And speaking of on top of the tanker, you will have to climb on top of the tanker and you will have to move from one end to the other. You'll have to walk, squat, turn, screw that motion, and then you'll have to climb back down safely. I'm going to be honest, guys, if you're afraid of heights, you might have a hard time because they will watch you climb up the ladder and you'll have to climb back down. And if you're a person that's afraid of heights, it may seem like a pretty tall structure. But in my opinion, I don't think it's extremely tall. But for a person that's afraid of heights, you might be a little nervous. You want to make sure that you're not appearing to be too nervous when you're climbing and moving around up there, because I saw a guy who was very nervous and he was shaking and his legs were kind of bouncing around a lot, and he looked really unsure of himself. And because he was so nervous, they eventually told him that he physically wasn't able to be a tanker because he had to climb up the ladder, and in their opinion, it seemed to be that he couldn't do it safely. So you want to make sure that you're steady and stable and you don't have a real big phobia of heights, because it could really hurt your chances to pass into the next part. What is the next part? The next part is a drug test. So I will tell you guys, first and foremost, for you guys that's out there smoking that weed, they do hair tests. They do hair follicle tests, and they're going to get a lot of hair. So don't be like this guy that showed up to the facility hairless, because they will send you back. And it's not just weed they're looking for all the other drugs. If you're going to look into being a truck driver, period, just taper yourself off of the drugs and make sure that you're clean when you get there. You have to do a lot of training on a computer after those tests. You know, the typical driver's training and safety and winter training and things of that nature. You'll have to do all that on the computer, and it can get a little extensive. After you do all the routine tasks of the computer work and your drug test and your physical and everything, you'll finally break down into your groups, and then from there, you'll be able to finally get into learning what it is to really be a tanker driver. From my experience, their instructors were very, very extensive, and they did a great job breaking down each step to make sure that every student got it. They will give you a study guide to take home with you, so you don't have to remember it just by storing it in your brain. It will actually give you a study guide so you can check off each list and you can actually use it while you take the test. You don't have to try to remember this stuff, but you will not be able to have your instructor help you with anything when you're actually completing your test. But the instructors will make sure that you're very prepared, and they will actually spend a little extra time with you if need be, if you need extra assistance. I personally think that the Schneider instructors for the tanker division are great. I'd highly recommend going there if you're looking into a entry-level career of being a tanker. I definitely recommend it. I enjoyed the program. It can get a little tedious at times, but they just want to make sure that you're very hands-on because, as I'm sure you all know, Schneider's safety program is very top tier, and they take safety very seriously. So there's no clowning, no playing, or anything like that. Those guys will nip that in the butt real quick. But they will definitely ensure that you guys pass your test. On your spare time, just make sure that you're always studying. Make sure that you're focused for the next day and don't get distracted because it's easy to fall behind if you're not paying attention. But as long as you study and you practice and you pay attention, you will do great. I know, contrary to popular belief, people hate starter companies, and I understand why people hate starter companies because they get a bad rep. But you have to know why you're going into that starter company, and they have a really good tanker division because there's a lot of money out here to be made outside of Schneider. There's a lot of money to be made as a tanker, but you have to get your foot in the door and get that experience somewhere, and Schneider is a great start, especially if you're just getting your CDL. I highly recommend it. At the end of the training program, the guys that I was with that had no experience, they came out making 47 cents a mile. And that is great considering that this is your first CDL job, more than likely, and you don't have any experience. So 47 cents a mile was great. They averaged about, I want to say, close to 2,000 miles a week. And that could fluctuate, of course, depending on how hard you run and how many loads they push out to you. So you can expect to make from low end 700 to high end, maybe 850, 875 weekly, and that's a great starting pay for an entry-level Schneider tanker driver. I recommend it pay-wise, and I also recommend them for their training program because I really believe it gives you a great start for your trucking career, especially if you're getting into the tanker division. As with anything, nothing is perfect, so you may have dispatchers that you'll have to communicate with and things of that nature, but overall, if you're looking to get into the tanker division, I definitely recommend you check Schneider out, especially if you just got your CDL or if you're experienced and you're looking for a career change in trucking, i.e. flatbed, tanker, etc. I really believe that tanker is a great route and it does pay well. And I believe Schneider will definitely give you a great start, guys. So that's the end of the video. If it was helpful for you, I hope you enjoyed this content. I have more trucking content to come. Before you roll out, guys, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and as always, drop a comment and let me know how these videos are helping you guys out. I appreciate all the support. Until next time, be blessed, stay safe, and it's Gene rolling out.